Welcome back, Epic Gamers. I hope everybody's doing well, staying safe out there. We're back again with Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, and I have a little bit of a different video today. Today I'm going to be talking about a couple tips that can help you as a free-to-play, maybe minimal spending type player to really give you a bit of an advantage here on the holotables. And the first tip I want to talk about is the journey guide. And this is pretty straightforward, but if you're a newer player, this is a fantastic tool to help you kind of navigate where you should be looking to spend your time and your resources in order to advance and unlock new powerful characters. We're going to go down here to the objectives screen, and it's right where you see your daily activities. That's another pro tip: do your dailies, people. You get free ability mats and chirotechs and things like that. But this is the screen in which you're going to see the path to unlock all of the legendary characters in the game. So for example, let's click on Grand Admiral Thrawn. And this was a character that I unlocked when he had the rolling timed event. So it would come around like every 4 to 6 months, and they wouldn't really give you much heads up. You would just have to kind of figure out when it was happening and make sure your roster was ready. It created a lot of artificial pressure, and I'm glad that CG implemented this journey guide to make these events more accessible to characters and to players, and allow them to kind of farm and play the game at their own pace. I really enjoyed that change. So you're going to see the character, obviously. You're going to go here to activity and go to event. And this is where it's going to show you exactly what you'll need to clear all of the stages of the event. And in the instance of Grand Admiral Thrawn and most of these legendary events, you're going to need to unlock the 5-star or higher variant of the character to have an unlock of that character. That made no sense. Let me rephrase that. You're going to need to complete tier 5 of the event to unlock the 5-star full character. And then you'll eventually want to push up into tier 6 and 7 in order to get the full 7 stars. So you can use them in raids, territory battles, whatever you want to do with them, you can do so. And obviously they're their most powerful. So definitely prioritize who you want to go after through this journey guide. And there's a lot of synergy to be found. For example, if you farm a team like the Phoenix Squad, they are a team of rebels. They're also obviously Phoenix, we talked about that. So they're going to be required to unlock Grand Admiral Thrawn, who's a very powerful character. You can use him in a lot of dark side lineups, even with some light side lineups. His fracture ability is going to do wonders. He's a very plug and play type of hero. I use him in my Commander Luke Skywalker team more than I do in my Empire team. But anyway, so having 5 Phoenix characters at the max 7 stars, which if you want guides on how to farm these characters, this isn't quite the video. I could make one if you guys want, just let me know in the comments, but I would recommend guides like going all the way back Warriors Pillars, as well as Arnold has a really good farming guide with full visuals and details. So I recommend checking those guys out. You probably know who they are if you're here watching my video. So if you get let's say a squad of 5 Phoenix characters, which will probably look like Hera, Zeb, Ezra, Chopper, and the other one, Kanan, you'll be able to unlock Thrawn. But what you'll also be able to do is come here to the Emperor Palpatine event, and you'll note that you're going to need 5 rebel characters, and you'll see the Phoenix is included in there. And that's fantastic because you can double dip, and you can then have 2 very powerful dark side characters with Emperor Palpatine and Grand Admiral Thrawn just from farming your 5 Phoenix characters, which are pretty accessible in the game. So I would say that first tip is use the journey guide to your advantage. Let's say you really want to unlock Jedi Knight Revan at some point. So you're going to go to the screen. It's going to show you some synergies, but you're going to want to go to the activity, and you're going to want to see these characters here. Obviously, you're going to need Jolie Bindo, Bastila Shan, Zalbar, Mission, T3M4. Those are characters you will need to fully max to 7 stars in order to unlock this character. He's a mythic character or something like that. I don't know what they're calling him, but he's really strong. And you're going to need a full 7 stars to unlock. So you can then click on that character, Bastila for example, and it'll show you where to find shards. I'll move my big dumb face, and it'll show you where to find those shards. So we'll click that, and that's where you can find those shards. And I completely just moved my desktop around. I'm an idiot. So that's a good guide. You see, you're gonna have to progress a little bit in the game through fleet battles and dark side battles to even farm these characters, but it's a good indication of where to start. Tip 2 is going to be all about resource management. So We talked about prioritization, knowing which characters you want to go after, being the legendary characters or whether it's just a team. You're going to want to make sure that you are spending and allocating your resources, whether that's time or crystals or, real money, if you're going to be spending some money on this game, most efficiently into those teams and those characters that are going to help you reach your goals. So let's do an example of this. So right now, one of my priorities is to farm out my Galactic Republic, my Padme team. And what I'm doing is making sure that I'm hoarding. A lot of people say this game is all about hoarding, and I kind of agree. Making sure you have a lot of resources and you're not just spending them all over the place as soon as you get them is really important skill to learn, and I had to kind of learn the hard way. I've spent some resources on some characters I regret, and I'm sure everyone has done so as well. You're going to want to make sure you have lots of resources, whether that be gear pieces. Right now I'm trying to hoard these gold eyeballs because I will need a lot for Ahsoka as well as Jedi Knight Anakin, I believe, to really flush out this Padme team, but also the ever important Zeta map materials. And these are going to start becoming more available when you upgrade your fleet. And if you want a video on that, just let me know. I'll talk about fleet. I don't really want to talk about ships, but if you want it, let me know. I'll do it, I guess. But you're going to want to make sure you're having a good stockpile of resources and you're funneling them specifically into the characters will take you to that next level. So for me, that Padme team looks like Padme, Ahsoka Tano, Jedi Knight Anakin, all the way down here, General Kenobi, and as of right now, it's Barriss, because, I don't have Ewoks, and you need Ewoks to get C-3PO, who's probably the best fifth in that Padme team, but for now, it's going to be Barriss, because she's actually really strong in the Padme team and very annoying. She's very survivable. So that's the best tip I can give you as far as hoarding resources. Don't spend them in places you don't need them. Like, for example, can I think of a good example? I can. So let me go to my Rebels. Now, I was focused on farming out my Commander Luke Skywalker team, and I had Commander Luke all the way up to gear 12. I had R2 up to gear 10 with the Zeta, and Old Ben at gear 10 as well. And I was like, okay, I think I really need a good tank to help this Rebel team with Commander Luke, Han, Chewie. So I went over here and I got K2SO out of the Shard Shop. Or not the Shard Shop, the Galactic War Store. I'm actually stupid. But I pumped a bunch of gear and ability mats into this droid, and I've never used it. Honestly, not once. I tried to play it in Grand Arena, and it didn't really work as intended. So it's not the best example, but you can look over here at Farm Boy Luke. Sure, I can upgrade Farm Boy Luke to gear 9. Is that going to help any of my squads? Would it be cool to have a more powerful Farm Boy Luke? I guess, but it's not going to do anything for my Rebel team. He's not a very strong character. He's only used in really niche situations, like his leadership to help give tenacity up to some certain characters like Enfys Nest. But so I'm not going to need this character. I'm going to ignore those flashy green lights that I know catch everybody. Ooh, I could take this guy up to the next gear tier. Don't do it. I'm watching you. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's bad. Save those resources. Use them on really powerful characters that are going to fit into your squads. If you have already done that and your priorities are different, where you just kind of want to have fun and you want to go with a Farm Boy Luke, then do it, man. I'm not going to stop you. I'm just trying to give you the best tips to help optimize your roster. And the last tip is what I'll say is when it comes to some of the modes like Grand Arena, the raids, territory battles, even if you're a little bit earlier on Galactic War, is having multiple flushed out teams that you can rely on. And this is super important when you're talking about Grand Arena. If you missed my first episode of Grand Arena, you can catch it here on the channel. We did this attack run. A guy got choked up on my defense here, but you're going to want to make sure, especially once you get to level 85 and you're doing Grand Arena, which I think is the most fun mode in the game, that you have, I'm talking a deep roster of, even if they're not the best characters overall, or maybe they're not the highest gear tier, you want to make sure that you can go into something like Grand Arena and have multiple squads that you can count on to either place on defense or to have as an offensive, sleeper pick. Like for me, that looks like my Separatists. And my Separatists I use on offense, and they're kind of like my cleanup team when I mess up. And that's a Nuke Gunray lead with Asajj, and then I have a kind of very, very bad Count Dooku, but a Magna Guard, and then I can throw in whoever else has my 5th. And that seems to get the job done. So again, not the best examples. If you want better examples on Grand Arena teams, squads, placements, there's much better YouTubers out there doing that. I recommend it's just Ian, obviously Arnold as well, Urs has the most fun in Grand Arena. So if you're a Grand Arena holic and you haven't seen Urzatron, make sure to check him out. Awesome show. The Hall Live is amazing. And so that kind of wraps up tip number 3. I hope that made sense. It's kind of going through your journey guide, your inventory, making sure that you know what your priorities are, you're farming towards those, which the journey guide will show you how to do, and ultimately you're using your resources wisely. So I hope that kind of helps you out, everybody. I know that was a little bit all over the place, but if you enjoyed this, you want more of the Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes content, make sure you're smashing like down below. If you want more of these, like I said, if you want some more random videos, if you got suggestions for my roster, make sure to comment. And as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one. Hope everyone is staying safe out there in these weird times. But until then, we'll see you later, my friends. Have a good one.